Okay, well, we'll start because a lot of you've got to go off. So I think what we'll do is just do normal. We haven't got an agenda, just go around the table and everybody can just update us if that's okay. Tudor, do you want to start? Because you've got to go at 11 o'clock, haven't you?
Okay, yeah. Nothing out of the ordinary, really. Macmillan still has funding to invest in the future for one thing only, and that's to support people living with cancer around personalised care. That's where it's targeted at the moment. So I'm already talking with what was the CCG, now is the ICB, which seems to be very similar people in the main. And I'm just trying to work with them to think, rather than just bolt on a post here or bolt on a post there, how can we work with the health economy, if you like, across the two counties of Herefordshire and Worcestershire in a more linked up way. So what we call system-wide ways of working. So you're linking up what happens in hospital, what happens in the community, what happens in primary care, and hopefully what happens across the voluntary sector as well. That's going to be a slow burn. It's not going to be some great big magic wand approach, but just getting people together to talk about putting a bid in together is a great start. So we've got the hospital talking to primary care talking to some of the community. So that's where I'm at, trying to plan, you know, middle of this year to now to look at 2023 to 25. So it's a bit more coordinated rather than put a patch on here or put a little piece of work in there, but there's not really that much conversation. And I know our cancer information centres and our benefit services are always talking across the system. So how can we make more of that when we're working with clinical posts and support posts? So that's where my thinking is. There's nothing in place yet, but the conversations are where those things always start. So if you're talking to people in the ICB, you're talking to people in the hospital, like the new like the cancer professionals or the project people that we've got in Worcestershire, put your two pennyworth in about what would really help. Where are the gaps? Where are the pressure points at the moment around supporting people when they come out of treatment and they go back home and feel a little bit like, where's all my support gone? It's never going to be straightforward, but with more information and the right kind of influencers, we can hopefully put some funding in the right places. And that's always the challenge. You know, we might have some money, but you can put that money in the wrong place, or, you know, you have to take a shot sometimes at something different and something new. But we really need the data, the intelligence that's on the ground. So feed that back to me if nobody else will talk to you, and I'll make sure that I feed it in when I'm asked to fight for some money for Worcestershire and Herefordshire. But that's us really, and we're keeping on working with the benefits team. We had a good conversation with Nikki and Geraint and Sonia last week. You know, it's tough, you know, it's challenging times for everybody. And we have to set targets. You know, you can't just put money in and then shut your eyes. But those targets can be quite exacting, and the context we're working in, and the NHS under massive pressure, the voluntary sector's under massive pressure, sometimes just to pay the electric bill at the moment, I should think. But yeah, we're still here, we're still talking with people, and as long as people still talking to us, well, we might be able to do partnership working. So yeah, thank you for the opportunity to meet with you lot as a group, because it's one of the only opportunities I get to work like this. So good for Worcestershire, eh?
Okay, thank you. Yes, Jean.
Sorry, can I just ask a question? Can he send us the link so that we can give him feedback?
Just send it to my email address. So if Nikki, my email address, well, this is going on the tape, is thumphreys. That's spelt with an R-E-Y-S at the end, the proper Welsh way, at macmillan.org.uk. Diolch yn fawr iawn.
Thank you.
Oh gosh, for a different language here. Teresa, do you want to have a go? You better say, but actually, we better say, because there's some new people on here, who you are and what you do first.
I'm Teresa McKeown and I'm one of the benefits advisors. I've been off for 2 weeks, so I've just come back this week and there's lots of different things going on. I used to work full time, but now I just work 2 days a week. Unfortunately, Kate's on sick leave at the moment, so I'm not really sure what's happening there. We are very busy, a lot of late diagnosis, but there's a lot of it's the knock-on effect of everything else as well. I think not just in cancer services, in citizens advice bureaus, they're really at maximum level and beyond, I think. So it's very difficult all round at the minute, and I'm just going to continue doing what I do. So I don't know what else to say. I'm very good at these things, but yeah, so we're just working hard, and we will continue to do so to help people.
Okay, thank you. Can you stay on after this meeting, Teresa? Because we're going to meet with Andrew and Sonia and Sally and Ange after to talk about how we manage, how we're going to manage.
I've got an appointment at 11 o'clock.
Okay, well, yeah.
If
Okay.
you can do it a bit later on, Sally knows my appointment, so
Well, it's all right. Sally can fill you in after, perhaps, eh?
okay, I'll have a chat with. Sorry about that. I just had to
Yeah,
rearrange
no, that's
yesterday.
fine. That's fine. Claire, do you want to?
Morning, I'm Claire. I'm the new Macmillan Living with and Beyond Cancer Clinical Nurse Specialist at the Worcester Acute Hospital Trust. I've been in post for about 6 weeks now, so very new and learning everything. So I do apologise, I've got no camera on this one, but I shall see you at future ones. So yeah, that's me really. Hiya.
Okay, could you, Claire, Arthur, do you want to have a go? Sorry, I forgot there was 2 Claires.
Oops.
Well,
That's fine, that's fine.
Morning, Claire.
Morning, Claire. There's a lot of Claires off around late there. Yeah, so I'm the Macmillan Information Support Lead for South Worcestershire, and yeah, we are very busy. As Sally and I were talking about yesterday, you never quite know what we're going to get. On Friday, it was quite a calm day. Yesterday, emails pinging with referrals, literally people kept coming through the door. Kim's looking at me here. It was manic, and it was really just didn't know what to do first, but one of those days. But it's great that we are receiving lots of referrals again across the board from patients, families, clinicians. This year so far, Ange Gillis and I have received around 2,150 contacts from our multidisciplinary teams and patients. I know that obviously Claire and Ben are here who will talk about the information and support days that we're doing, but I went to the Breast Cancer Awareness Day on Saturday with Claire, and it was so good to meet patients who I've known last year and seeing again now, and they're looking at me saying, you remember me, you referred me to here, this has been great, it's Living With and Beyond, and I'm really doing well, and they've got her and they're looking fantastic. It's just so nice to see them having gone through that journey, and the support around them has made such a difference. So that was great. In terms of Macmillan pods, Nikki, you've absolutely frozen here, so you're just looking at me really weirdly. So I hope everybody can hear me.
Okay. That's
better. Yeah, that's fine. In terms of the actual Macmillan pods, don't know if you remember, but one of the problems that we've had with the atrium pod is that it can be incredibly busy. Certainly yesterday it was. It is so noisy. You can barely hear yourself think. But Kwesi Miles, the architect or head of environments, has sent a design which is really exciting, because whilst it's still going to be in the atrium, and there are policies and procedures within the hospital that will stop us from putting a lid on it, if you like, Kwesi has come up with an idea to sort of have a little pod within a pod so that we can at least talk to patients with some privacy, so that we can hopefully hear what they're trying to say to us, and equally people outside the pod who sometimes have a tendency to answer their phones next to it can't hear what we're saying. So that's really exciting. We're very excited about that, so watch this space. So yeah, the support groups are getting up and running. So we're continuing to just build our portfolio of up-to-date information. Now we're coming out of COVID, things are springing up again. So it's really exciting times, actually. Kim, who's sitting next to me.
Hello,
Kim Smart is our brand new shiny Macmillan Information Support Worker for the North. She's come to play with me for a couple of weeks because Ange Gillitz is on holiday. How dare she? Unfortunately, we haven't got a support worker in the South. Gemma has moved on to take on a more local part-time position to suit her family needs more so, which totally understandable, very sad for us, but we are getting to the stage where this is about to go out to adverts, so hoping that we will soon be back in and you know, have another support worker for the South as well, just to support the team so we can get back running again. In terms of the volunteers, I have my first volunteer returning tomorrow, and I know Ange is looking at some of her volunteers coming back for the North, because during COVID we really took on a sort of a new model to get out into the clinics and to the chemo suites, which proved to be really helpful. We're not planning on having as many volunteers back as we did before, because with the support worker and the type of service that we're providing so much information that we want to make sure that we are covering the service full time, and the volunteers are there to support us doing other activities. So at the moment we're taking it slowly with bringing them back, and we're going to see where we are as we carry on. So it's all exciting, it's very busy. Did you want to say anything?
Hello everyone. I'm 2 weeks in post. I have had 11 years experience working in the garden centre, which is an oncology garden suite, garden centre.
I was going to say.
Selling petunias in the garden suite. I know, I'm a fool. With oncology and haematology cancer patients. So I've got a lot of background of cancer. This is a complete learning curve in many ways, so much information that I'm trying to absorb, and grateful for these meetings because it gives me an idea of who I'm speaking to. Like I speak to Sally a lot and I can see Sally there, so it's nice to put a face to the name. So I'm very excited about joining, so bear with me because I am on a steep learning curve.
Doing fine.
But I know I'm going to love working for Macmillan. So thank you everyone.
Just one thing very quickly, I forgot to say that the Hope courses are now up and running again. Angelis and I did one last month, and Lisa Robury, the lead cancer nurse, and I are going to be starting the next 6 weeks programme at the end of September. We are hoping that we can get more recruits for training, and I know Claire and Ben are undertaking that training at the moment. So that's exciting. I won't say any more because beyond is their bit.
Okay, sorry about that. Yes, thank you very much. Part of me thinks it's, well, I know it's a shame that Gemma's gone, but part of me thinks maybe that might be a little bit of respite for us because we don't get quite so many referrals. Is that not right, Sally? Oh, okay.
Not right.
Okay.
Because Gemma used to pass them a mine over to Sally. She's yeah.
Okay, I was just keeping my fingers crossed a bit. Anyway,
Sorry.
no, it's fine. It's fine. That's what we're here for. I know, but we are so busy. It's just
I know you are. I know.
Yeah. Simon, do you want to little say something? Would be handy if you turn your. Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, I mean, there's quite a lot going on in terms of, trying to pursue with the acute trust when they're going to get to make some progress with their particularly urological and colorectal waiting lists. Really welcome the rapid progress that's been made in sourcing and putting in place a robot at the Alex. After so many years of prevarication or what have you, it's really good to see that happening. We're starting to ask when the garden suite's going to actually go back to Redditch, because we had this big statement, must have been round about turn of the year, I think, when Matthew Hopkins came along to our board meeting and told us that it was definitely going to go back. Matthew Hopkins, sorry, is the CEO of the Acute Trust, for those who don't know. He said that it would definitely go back to Redditch, but we understand there hasn't been any progress in actually getting it back there. So we've still got people from that part of the county having to travel for chemotherapy, which can't be good. And I do have to remind people that Kidderminster has got its own, I think it's called the Meadow Suite, isn't it? Millbrook. Is that right? Yeah. Sorry, Millbrook, yeah. And we need to make sure that that doesn't sort of I'm not suggesting it might, but we need to make sure that that actually stays in place. Yeah. For people in Kidderminster. I've met Ben, and Ben, when he was appointed, came in contact with me about our particular, we've got a particular interest in health inequalities, obviously, and I pursue that in the Cancer Alliance, West Midlands Cancer Alliance board. I've been contacted by Mary Piercy, who is the new ICB lead for screening. So I don't know whether Ben, she's actually met you yet or made contact with you, but I've passed your details on to her.
I'm going to see the ICB on Friday, so I'm hoping to grab her then.
Yeah, good. So because I'm still waiting to actually physically meet with her, I guess that's about it, really, to be honest with you. Welcome the appointment. I got to say, Macmillan's of Ben, doing all we can to tackle health inequalities is really, really important, and we had some interesting conversations about it, particularly with Ben's previous experience around this stuff.
Well, that's really important for anything we invest in the future. That'll be one of the checks, really, as how is it addressing health inequality. So really good to, if you could feed that into the ICB. Mary is actually in discussions with us, so keep those conversations going. She's obviously got a wider reach than screening, I think. So
yeah, she has. I think we're going to need to encourage the ICB to actually put some resources into tackling the screening agenda, what have you, because I think when she came to me, she was coming to me to look to see if we would do some work for the ICB and sort of tailor some of our work into the ICB agenda. So I had to sort of question her over, well, what resource have you got behind you to actually promote the uptake of screening, for example, in some parts of our county where we know the uptake is not so good.
Okay, thank you, Ben. As you've been mentioned a number of times now, would you like to fill us in what you're doing? What's your name and where you come from?
What do you do, Ben?
Hi everyone. So those, I think I've met most people, but those I haven't, I'm the Living with and Beyond Cancer project manager for Macmillan and working at Worcester Acute. So just to follow on from what my colleagues have said, really, we had a really good patient story presentation to our trust board last week as part of Stand Up to Cancer. That was really well received by the trust board members. It is available on YouTube, so if people are interested, they can find it. And then that sort of really prompted the conversations that Claire said with about getting the pods updated at Worcester Acute. It's really good when you sort of have them almost over a barrel, really, in a public forum, and you mention these things. It's amazing what you can get done and supported with. So that was really good news last week. Yesterday, myself and Claire, new Claire, as we refer to her as, because there's about four of us in our team, 4 Claires in our team. We attended the colorectal support group at the Pear Tree, really well attended. We had about 50 patients there, a couple of patient stories. We had a consultant come along and talk to the patients, and the patients get a lot out of it, and as do I, really, as a Macmillan. I get really is really good to make the connections directly with the patients, and I've got a couple of patients on board to help with patient stories, to help get their stories out to other patients, because I think a lot of patients get so much from speaking to other patients. Myself or Claire or anyone can wax lyrical about what's out there, but hearing it firsthand from a patient has a much bigger impact. So we've got a lot of exciting things going on. I'm still looking to build this cancer patient app, which will have a lot of good signposting on. I spoke to the colorectal CNSs, and they're happy to be a pilot for the EHNAs, which are the electronic holistic needs assessments. So that's really good to help us get that up and running. So I apologise in advance, Nikki, Sally, if your referrals go up even more, but that's because we've got even more holistic needs being completed. But from a patient point of view, it is brilliant because it makes it more accessible in terms of them sort of to reaching where they need to go. But if your referrals go up, then that's something we need to look at. That the whole point of the holistic needs is to make sure the patients are getting to the right place at the right time. But then if demand outweighs supply, that's another conversation we have further down the line. My priority is to make sure the patients are telling us what they need support with. So that's the point of the holistic needs assessments. I'm looking to do a health and wellbeing event day in November up at Worcester City Football Club for about 60 patients. The plan is, if that goes well and the format works, we will then move that around the county to ensure equity for all patients. So we'll do it over in Kidderminster, in Redditch, and Bromsgrove, because as to pick up on Simon's point in terms of travel, it's not the easiest thing. It's not the easiest county to get around at times. So if we can take it to them, it makes it easier for patients and to make sure they get the information and support they need on their doorstep, rather than expecting them to travel 30 plus miles to get to where they need to be. So yeah, as Claire and Claire said, a really exciting time in Worcestershire. We've got Kim on board now. Claire's been in post 6 weeks, so our team's really building. So hopefully we just go from strength to strength.
Great, that's great, thank you. I was only joking really about I wasn't joking about the amount of referrals. It's the capacity we have to look after them.
No, I fully appreciate that, Nikki.
You know, we want to provide a really gold service, but
yeah, absolutely,
you know,
absolutely.
obviously our main aim is for the cancer patients, and you know, well, anyway. Jean, would you like to say something, Ross?
Thank you. I'm Jean Brown, and I'm the secretary for the Ross Cancer Support Group here in Ross-on-Wye. Been attending the meetings, not many people turning up, so came up with a good idea that we'll have a cancer information event. Sally has kindly circulated, we've got a poster that's going to be on next Tuesday. And I've developed a program, and I know that Sally's kindly circulated that to you as well, just a draft one. I'm pleased to say Claire from Worcester is coming, and Sonia. We've been really well supported by the different organisations. Of course, how many people will turn up, we don't know. But what we wanted to do is let people know that we're out there to support them on a voluntary side. But also, it's that business of networking and being able to refer people on. And we're really delighted with everybody who's come from the Living with Cancer group. You know, it's really looking good. So I'll be able to give you some feedback afterwards then. We need to update the Macmillan website with our contact details for the group. So I'm not 100% sure how we do that, if somebody can help out with that. And probably seeing ourselves moving forward more as a signposting have as a role, really. And of course, I was thinking, oh, this is a good idea. But of course, for many people, cancer is a very private thing. And I think Dame Debbie James and Bill Turnbull has really helped to focus on, you know, getting the advice out there, go and ask people and find out. And I'm already seeing people networking with others who've been... Thank you. There we are, sorry.
All right.
No, but it's really good, yes. And it's lovely linking into you to this network as well. And we'll see what happens afterwards. Thank you.
I was thinking, Sonia, because don't we have a drop-in at Ross I don't know when we have the drop-in at Ross, whether it be possible to put some of Jean's leaflets out whilst we're there.
Absolutely, well, because I've put Steph in touch with Jean, and she's coming along to give the talk, isn't she? So Steph's going to be taking a lot of leaflets to the forum, and yeah, indeed, any of these clients that any people that come along to Jean's information evening, you know, that would be something that Steph can show them. Yeah, these people can come and see us at our Ross outreach, because we've got, you know, face-to-face appointments in Ross, or, you know, our Macmillan team, you know, can also attend out there if you know, if that's appropriate. But yeah, we've been working with Jean, and hopefully we can build that relationship further. Yeah. All right.
Great, thank you. Sophia, would you like to update us on St Richard's?
So I'm Safia, and I'm the Citizens Advice worker at St Richard's Hospice. So I can only talk about Citizens Advice work at St Richard's, not really anything else. So yeah, it's been a busy month, which was good because I was on leave for some of it. So my job share, poor Lynn, she had to pick some of those up. We had a bit of a lull in July, but now it's gone, you know, above and beyond our normal pre-2020 referrals. So we are constantly quite busy. One of the things that I did notice, and I don't know if this happens at all with the Macmillan Citizens Advice workers, is that we get a lot of the same questions sometimes, and they come through as a referral, and the referral process at St Richard's is quite long-winded, because each referral has to be triaged, and then of course I get them or Lynn gets them, and we have to phone them, and then it's like a question that they could have just maybe, if they had the resources, look up on the Citizens Advice website, a very simple question, maybe something to do with the rate of carers allowance, or what are the PIP rates of pay, you know, so very simple questions. So we are thinking that to try and cut out some of those as actually coming on as referrals and taking up quite a lot of time, we're going to try and roll out some sort of information drop-in in parts of the Living Well Centre at St Richard's, where we get a lot of questions about, am I entitled to pension credit? And quite a lot of the patients there actually have a lot of savings and investments. So that is a sort of question that I could avoid coming through as a referral. So we're going to try that as a way of sort of catching all those little questions, so they don't take up the time that we need to work on more difficult things. So for instance, we're starting to challenge a lot of people that are getting turned down for during a work capability assessment. So that's like months and months and ongoing, and then they need extra support during that time when they're not getting any money, that sort of thing. So that's an idea, just throwing that out. But yeah, we're busy, and it's, you know, there is, as I've been saying for a couple of years now, late diagnosis, mental health. And I don't know if everybody knows, but because we work with St Richard's have the contract for Bereavement South Worcestershire. So we also get those bereaved people as well. So, and they are quite often, they're a little bit different. So they're quite often, you know, we're doing a lot of sort of universal credit and things like that, and working with bereavement a lot, and it might be younger people, you you know, because it could be a road traffic accident or a suicide or whatever. So we're, you know, the relative or husband or wife, or it could be the parents of somebody. So it's, you know, it's a kind of different job, really. But yeah, just making you aware. Anyway, that's me plodding on, quite happy to have been in Dorset last week anyway. And it wasn't raining, no matter what they say on the weather. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Sophia. Joe, do you want to update us on Hereford?
Hi, I'm Joe. I'm part of the Hereford Macmillan Benefits team. We have been, like echoing everybody else, we've been busy. Our main referrals at the moment seem to be coming from the Living With and Beyond Cancer support workers, which is great. And also Alison at the information centre. I know she's struggling as well at the moment because I think she's trying to do 2 jobs. So she's only at the Cancer Information Centre in the mornings, and then she does her other job in the afternoons. So yeah, we're really busy. The one thing that we find really difficult, and I'm sure the other advisors do as well, is having to stay on the phone for so long to try and contact DWP. So if there's any magic way they could get a direct line would be great, but you know, they take so much time. They can be on the phone for an hour just waiting to get through to ask a question about, you know, somebody's application, and it takes a huge amount out of their time. So yeah.
Judah, is that something you could bring up nationally?
I'll feed it back.
Mm.
Yeah, and I think maybe you could do that through CA as well nationally.
Yeah, we are already doing that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else, Joe?
No, I think that's it. I think everybody else has said everything else. Yeah, thank you.
They're trying to get it ready for
Andrew, I know you were supposed to be on holiday, but he's very kindly decided to join us because he's that keen, bless him. Do you want to say anything?
I think it's all been covered really. We're, yeah, it's what Teresa mostly said. It's all we're very busy, but ploughing on.
Okay, so, Sally?
Hi, there's 2 of us here. So I'm Sally, and this is my colleague. Oh, I'm Angela. Hi. And we both take all the referrals for Worcester Macmillan service. And there's a couple of observations I wanted to make was, I think what I've noticed, particularly in the last 6 months, is we're getting a blend of some clients who need quite very complex casework and a lot of input by the caseworkers, combined with some clients who come to us in a real crisis. We're not a crisis service, but we have done some help on the day. And I just wanted to give an example of someone last week who was referred by a very astute clinical nurse who picked up that her cancer patient was losing weight. And when she discussed this with her patient, realised it was for financial reasons, so referred her to us on a Friday. This client had no money, no food, nothing to drink, and had done for several days. So between Andrew and myself, we were able to arrange a quick appointment, but also refer her to our citizens advice colleagues who were able to, that afternoon, to get her a voucher so she could get some food. She was also referred to the food bank on the Monday, and Andrew applied for a Macmillan grant, but it was all on the day. And that's probably one of the most extremes, where someone has got no food and has had no food for a week, and we needed to try and help the best we could. And thank you to our citizens advice colleagues for stepping in and supporting what we were doing. And there was another example of where a cancer patient had gone home from the hospice to pass, basically. And we were contacted because his wife had no money for the oxygen compressors he was on. No money whatsoever. She phoned the electricity suppliers, they wouldn't help. And she came to us with no money to put in her pay-as-you-go meter. So again, we were able to do something on the day and apply to a local cancer charity and get money to her that afternoon so she could spend the final hours with her husband because he passed away that night. And that's been the tone of some of the work that's been coming through to us. So I just wanted to share that because it's not just numbers, it's the crisis state that some of our clients are coming to us. And also the amount of signposting we're doing. Last week, I've signposted 2 people for stair lifts and about 5 for wheelchairs. That's not our remit, but we can signpost. So our work, and my work has got a lot more complex on the front line. So I just want to kind of give a flavour of what we're picking up. There's been a quite distinct change, I think.
And there's also, you're identifying people for this housing support grant, isn't it? That's something else, isn't it, that you're doing with the £75 that people are able to get?
Yeah. Again,
that's another job that you've got to do on top of it.
Again, we're passing that information to our citizens advice colleagues, but yes, we're picking up. So it's kind of our role's got even more involved, hasn't it, Ange? Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's the ASDA, £100 from ASDA.
Yeah.
Everybody's, putting money in for everybody, but it's the additional work that we're having to do to cope with that, to help the clients, if you get what I mean. It's all a lot of work that, like you say, isn't just the benefits. It's all the other stuff that goes with it, and which is taking up so much time.
Yeah. And clients are very, very, who are vulnerable, and then you add cancer into it and they're even more vulnerable. And I know we've had quite a few who are non-English speaking, so we're using interpreters. So we had one last week and we've got another one next week. So, that's another thing, because that takes, well, understandably, more time. So it just feels like the complexity has gone up another level.
Yeah. Sonia, you're the only one left, dear.
Right, yeah, I mean,
you and your COVID.
Yeah, I'm here with COVID, but so I might cough a little bit. I'm all right at the moment. I don't know if I'll make it to the end of the day, but yeah, obviously I look after the Macmillan advisors at Citizens Advice, the St Richard's team, Sophia and Lynn, her colleague, the generous team that Sally was talking about, who help with food bank vouchers, etc., etc. So what, my observation is, a cancer patient is not just a cancer patient. They are also affected by the same cost of living crisis that everybody else is feeling at the moment. We all know how bad that's got. So our whole service is under pressure, but in particular, we haven't got that slack to move people around the teams to sort of give each other that, to pick up where there's been an increase in referrals and things like that. It's become, there is no more slack. We're basically down to the bone. So it's difficult. We're doing what we can, to keep the service of a really high level, but we are going to have to look at ways of working as a team. In fact, Tudor very kindly put us in touch with, we're going to be speaking to colleagues in other Citizens Advice or other Macmillan contracts with Benefit Advice, just to see how they are managing, see if we can work a little bit smarter. But I think the biggest thing, we just need to be mindful of the toll that it's having on our teams and our advisors and our support workers, because it is a bit relentless at the moment. I think everyone's feeling that. We just want to do the best for everyone. I mean, we've been doing a lot of outreach work in terms of trying to promote the service. But you know, in some ways you think, well, we don't need any more referrals, but you know, we've got to help these people that are out there, and you know, that we're just doing what we can. Nikki and I are doing what we can to back up our teams and keep them supported, but it's difficult at the moment. I just think we're all feeling that extra pressure from just what the whole community is feeling at the moment, you know, how difficult life is for so many people. Yeah, so yeah, so thank you, Nikki. I think that's probably that's a bit of a woeful note to finish on, but yeah, I'm just proud of the team, you know, how they are managing. I mean, it's unprecedented numbers that we're seeing now, you know, in terms of referrals, in because it was quieter during lockdown, and we're just yeah, working through what we can. Yeah. Okay, thanks everyone.
Just check it, Nikki, is it okay if I share some of the recording of this with some of the people I answered to in Macmillan? Because I think it'd be really useful to hear that, some of that stuff that Sally was talking about. That's really poignant, and Sonia adding that wider picture to that. You know, I pass that on verbally, but it would be really good to hear that firsthand.
Yes, of course.
And it's not going to be unique to Worcester, but this is the area that I'm responsible for advocating on behalf of and challenging back sometimes. But you know, I will feed that back up, and it'd be really good to do that with your permission.
Yes, of course you can.
Yeah.
Thank you, again.
Yeah. Right, I know it's been pretty quick, but I know that several of you've got to go anyway. So thank you very much for coming.
Is this your last meeting, Nikki?
This is my last meeting, yes.
Well,
at the end of October.
I don't think we can let you just slip away without saying thank you very much for all the fantastic work you've done coordinating this. It was quite a unique meeting, really. You're very straightforward. There's no frills. It's like, right, everybody, you've got the opportunity to tell your story, listen to somebody else, and then go back and get back on with your job. And you do that in such a straightforward way. So on behalf of Macmillan, and you're not even Macmillan, but you do this for the team and for the work. You haven't got a Macmillan badge, but I think there is a Macmillan piece of rock going through you somewhere. We're really, on behalf of Macmillan, we're really, really grateful for all the effort you put in, and that straightforwardness does actually work very well. So thank you very much, and all the best for the next chapter in Hotchkiss's future.
Thank you very much. I'm feeling quite embarrassed now.
Oh, don't be embarrassed. You should be very proud of yourself, because you've done it. You've held it together. You've given us a platform, and that's really important. And it's a very skilled way you do it. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Sonia will be taking over, I think, unless Claire, you want to do it.
Well, you better train her well, because we've got high expectations.
Okay.
You've set the bar, and it's consistent. You've done it. I remember when Monica was working in your area, and she was telling me about this group starting up, and that you were running it. She wasn't running it, you were running it. And I was around then, and I know you've kept that going all that time. So it doesn't happen without somebody taking responsibility for it. So really appreciate it, and I should be passing on what you do to other people.
Thank you very much. So on that note, Sally, when is your next meeting? Is it December?
Good. Yeah, it would be normally December. Yes.
You can come on, because it'll be Christmas, Nick.
Come and have a mince pie, virtual mince pie.
Yeah.
You'll have to pay for it yourself, but you know, it's the thought that counts.
Yeah. I still will
come
be
on
doing
in a Santa suit.
Yeah, you know you want to.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Sally will send out the next meeting date, and thank you very much everybody for coming. And those of you are going to stop on, aren't you? See you, folks.
Nice to meet you all. Bye bye.
Thanks a lot, everybody. Keep on going.